Okay, audio check. One, two, three, four. How's it coming through?
It's just fine.
Because this is a brand new, to me, 2013 iMac that just installed this morning.
That's what I'm on, a 2013 iMac.
It's a 14, comma 2.
Let's see what mine is about this Mac. Let's see. I've got to bring up more info, I think. And then I got to bring up what? About?
Yeah.
Where is it? Remember how to find that.
I don't run Mac OS.
Oh, okay. Uh,
And this camera, I think, is a lower res 2013 camera, looks like. Yeah. I don't think you can see each of the holes in my head.
you have holes in your head?
Many holes in my head. One of the most irritating things my girlfriend likes to do is pick blackheads out of my head.
Oh, jeez.
I didn't get the memo, you guys. Is it 2013 iMac Day? I didn't.
It's 2013 iMac Day, yeah.
Okay, I would have brought my 2013 iMac. I have one of those.
Anyway, this is not even a 4K screen. It's like 25 something by 14 something. But it still looks pretty good. I picked it up for $1. It had 32 gigs and 3 terabytes of disk.
Looks good to me.
Did I say $1? $100. Anyway, now I'll do my standard experiment. I'm going to turn it this way.
System report. That's what I wanted. Yeah, it's a four. Mine's also a 14,2. It's a late 2013 27-inch iMac 14,2.
Now this is the 15,1 that I'm about to join on.
And I'm running Sonoma 14.7.
I wasted like 3 weeks learning about different desktop environments and different software configurations and windowing environments. It's about time I stopped that and get productive.
Chat. Chat.
Okay. So sorry about the interruption yesterday. I had to depart for a couple of separate episodes there.
Oh, tomorrow is Sam Chan's birthday.
Oh, cool. Uh, I assume time change happened. My alarms went off. I just got up.
Yep.
The next hour of sleep.
Yep. Well, actually, I still woke up at the usual time. I just saw an extra hour of morning radio.
Can't find my Zoom window. Okay. Anyway, all right. I'll just stick to this machine then. All right. But I did get it because of the nice 27-inch screen, even though it's 25 something by 1440. It does seem more zoomed in though. Maybe that's the Apple default for their hardware.
Sam, what time is it your time?
Should be the same as you. 8:03.
We're on,
No, I'm in Hawaii, so
Oh, right.
it's
So it's
so it's
8:03
six
a.m. on the west, 8:04 now on the West Coast.
8:04. Okay, because I was told that. I guess I was told wrong. Well, okay,
What?
it's 6:04 here. No, I was told that they didn't do the time change here, but I guess they do.
No, it's only 2 hours difference.
you,
So
you were
normally
on,
it's three. So
you were on standard time yesterday and you're still on standard time today, which makes sense.
Okay,
yeah.
yeah, it was 3 hours difference yesterday, and it's 3 hours difference today.
Right, because
2 hours.
you're on standard time year round. But we're
Right.
on standard time this morning.
No,
which
no.
is-
Josh is saying there's only 2 hour difference between Hawaii and me today. There are 3 hour difference yesterday, is what Josh is.
Exactly. Yeah. So
Yeah,
that's exactly what I'm saying.
because the mainland changed. California changed,
Right.
not Hawaii.
That's right.
Yeah. I guess Hawaii does not change the time.
No, I checked. You're on standard time year round.
Yep. That's about right. Okay. That makes sense.
And you're also closer to the equator, which is another reason why. The
I'm
further
just trying to
north,
figure out when I go back, it's only last time it was a 3 hour difference. This time it's going to be a 2 hour difference.
correct.
Let me close the door
So
for a second.
thank you, Barry, for checking that.
Yeah. Yeah, the closer you are to the equator, the less difference does it make. It's the further north you are that summertime you can get more daylight in the evening if you're close to the Arctic Circle in the summertime.
Well, I forgot to
Yeah.
ask yesterday, which island are you on? Are you on Oahu or the other island?
I'm on Maui.
Yeah, that's cool. My kids and I did surfing lessons on Maui a couple times.
Oh, nice. Is that the north side of the island or?
No, I think that's west, isn't it? Well, wherever Lahaina is.
Oh, okay, Lahaina. I was gonna say where I am, I guess it's around the corner from Lahaina. So there wasn't a lot of waves. I was like, where's the waves breaking? It's got to be on another side of the island. So I'm on a Kihei
Yeah.
area.
But it's okay to have, when you're a beginner surfer, you don't want big waves, you want small waves. So that's what we did.
Yeah, if you ever want to learn to surf again, Sam, I highly recommend Ventura, California, because it's this long, steady wave, so steady. Like I felt like I was gonna talk like Trump there for a second. So even, the evenest wave you'll ever have, so even, so steady. Yeah, it's very steady there. It's a great wave.
Nice. Okay, again, I come unprepared, so this will be random check-ins with various different posts, unless you guys have other things to talk about.
Um, well, I hope the sun comes up. I don't know if you guys can see me, but I was raising my hand. I just heard about last night a thing called Learning with Google. So it's not the Notebook LLM, but it's some new idea of ways to learn with Google. And I was wondering, I was going to look that up in the morning. If you guys were interested in the learning, it's some new feature, like AI feature with Google.
They have something called Google One. That's pretty new. I don't know exactly what it is.
I know Google One, that's their what used to be Workspace,
Oh, okay.
but it's a learning feature, and I'll pull it up in a second when I can see. My eyes haven't adjusted yet, but
I could ask Gemini what is Google.
I I have a screen capture I can post in a second, but I don't know. Yeah, I would imagine if you just went to Google and said new learning feature and did a time thing that came out in the last couple weeks or whatever.
All
I'll
right.
know the screen when I see it.
Google's newly
Let me see if I can
released
post the screenshot.
learning feature.
It's there. I'll just do a
AI
screenshot.
tool called Learn About.
Yeah, learn about. That's it. That's exactly it. I'm posting it right now into the chat. There it is.
So you can say, I want to learn about crystallography, and it'll give you a bunch of quizzes and conversation about crystallography?
I thought that, but I think it's a little more in depth. I think it actually will drill down. So I literally was falling asleep last night listening to someone talk about it, and I did a screen capture and put it in the chat. But I just thought it would be interesting for us as a learning group to check it out because it'd be something that might be very useful. Might be shit. I don't know.
Is it premium or is it freebie?
I was assuming it's freebie.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sure.
I'll tell you one thing that Google changed, which annoys the hell out of me. They quadrupled the number and frequency of ads on YouTube for the free YouTube.
So is there a URL like learn about .google .think .ai .llm something? I don't know what they put in, where they hide their. In other words, if it's not easy for everyone to get to, and it's hidden inside of some Gemini or some.
It looks like it's learning. It looks like it's learning.google.com.
Yes.
Okay,
On that learning.google.com. Yes.
that's what I would imagine. That sounds right.
I watch a lot of
Big
YouTube
button
videos.
called experiment.
Well, let me know if this is interesting to you guys. I thought it might be the way they were talking about it was learning climate change and then drilling down to environment and blah blah blah, and it looked like you could really drill down and get some good insights. Like,
So you have to agree to their privacy notice. They're going to learn everything about you.
well, don't they know everything about, like, or do you have an account that's incognito or something like that?
No, it's just another way to collect more information about you.
Oh, okay. Is that what it feels like?
They all are because they all collect different kinds of information about you.
I try to give it pretty much blood type is where that's as much as I go to blood type.
Well, if I'm normally a placid software person on site and I come in here saying, how do I make an H-bomb? Then they're going to know that about me.
There's nothing wrong with that. You can ask that question, actually. That's the first thing we did with ChatGPT is try to make nuclear weapons.
Okay, learn about is experimental. You may see inaccurate or misleading info, so double check responses. You cannot resume past chats you've had with learn about. Oh, that's too bad.
In other words, it doesn't retain context from one session to the next.
Right.
Oh, here's Heiner.
Ah, Heiner found the time.
Well, thanks for looking at that with me. I appreciate it.
Well, if it is going to lose me from session to session, then I'll use it less than Notebook LM. Definitely.
Well, they just put a search feature in the chat for ChatGPT.
Yeah, that was
How's it going, Heiner?
Heiner was
Fine, fine, but a little bit tired. I just came last night from the Rhine Ruhr Valley.
from the what?
Rhine Ruhr Valley, the big industrial complex where Cologne, Düsseldorf, Bochum, Dortmund, Wuppertal, Mülheim is building a very big historic megalopolis.
That's pretty intense.
Yeah, it's a couple of hours. I arrived in the night.
When you say megalopolis, do you mean 10 million person cities, or what kind of structures are these megalopolises?
Well, independent towns, but they formed an industrial big city in the age of coal and steel, like you have it also in the East in America, all dying and all transforming. Actually, many international people living there and very intercultural with lots of social and cultural issues.
Mm.
Where I was, it's the end of the Silk Road from China. It's going from China to Duisburg. And I was in Duisburg actually at the site where they built this big trading harbor or end of the railroad and directly going into the Rhine, where they built this new east-west axis.
Well, that's exciting.
Well, the people like it, others don't.
I like
But
it.
I'm here to listen and find out how you bent the trend in your election.
Oh, we haven't got the fake or the real results yet. So nobody knows who's bent what in what direction. It's still a pretzel.
I mean, you have to really turn the dice.
They're gonna know probably in about a week.
Yeah, that's what I think. But maybe not. And you're at court the next 3 weeks or 3 months.
Well, whoever
Or-
wins, the other side is gonna run foul. No matter who wins, the other side is gonna say that's not real.
And you'll be in the street.
I will be in Hawaii. I will be in the ocean. Lying. I will be talking to the sharks. The sharks are more scary to me than actually the politicians are more scary than the sharks. That's why I'm going to be with the sharks and the
Perfect.
turtles. The turtles are nice.
So you're safe.
I wouldn't say safe, but I'm not involved. I bowed out of this one. I've argued with Sam about it. I'm bored, buried to death about it, and I am bowing out of it. I am not. Cusella voted. I didn't vote. But I'm also in California, so I'm not being irresponsible. I know 100% that my decision does not matter in the state that I'm in.
Well, but you should vote.
I should. I really should. Sam pressed upon very strongly that I should, and that's all the more reason why I don't. Because I don't do what I'm supposed to do. I never have my whole life. Why would I start at 51? I've never. Well, no, someone should make it compelling enough to where I want to vote, and they didn't. And it's their fault, not my fault. Nobody gave me a reason to vote for them.
Okay, and you say then you ought to vote?
I really should. This is the most important election of my life, is what I was told 100,000 times in every media from every person. This is the most important thing. I must do it. I have to do it. It is my duty, my civic duty as an American citizen. I must vote. And I told them, I read the Constitution, and it says I do not have to. So I have to be swayed to vote. And if I'm not swayed, then I do not have to cast a ballot. So that's my constitutional right.
Okay, but you ought vote.
You can always vote for none of the above.
Actually, if I voted, I just got swayed last night to vote for Jill Stein because it's a whole movement going on. And I'm not going to vote for Jill Stein because nobody I know would like me. I would be hated by everybody.
Not me because of that.
You sure, Sam?
Yes, I have supported her in the past.
Yeah, but that would be a vote for Trump, basically.
That's why I'm not doing it this time.
That's why I'm not doing it, because it's not a non-vote. It's a vote for Trump, and I'm not voting for Trump.
But a vote for Harris would still be a nice gesture of support for those you care about.
I don't, in good conscience, believe she's the best for the country. I think she's in bed with too many war people, and I don't trust her, and I don't trust Trump. So I don't know what to do. I'm fucked.
Pick one.
Vote for none of the above.
Yeah. That's what I voted for. A non-vote is a vote for none of the above.
But there are other also down ballot issues at stake as well. So those are also important.
Yeah,
The only
right.
races in Massachusetts are not the people races, but the proposition races.
But we'll know pretty soon. We're getting close. We got what, 2 more days? Is it 48 hours? What is it? Something like 60 hours?
Well, the polls will close at 8 o'clock on Tuesday night. Today is Sunday morning.
So
About
that's 60,
90 hours, I think.
90.
Somewhere,
My time change has messed me up.
approximately.
You'll
All
know
right.
Wednesday morning some of the races, the ones that are not close.
Well, if you take, Monday, Tuesday, and then that's 48 hours, and then add another 12 to get to 8 p.m. So that's about 60 hours, sorry. 60 hours.
Yeah,
I made the mistake of thinking it was Saturday. I'm still sleeping.
no, it's still Sunday.
So if we run both scenarios, if Harris wins, do you think there's going to be riots? And then if like what are the riots going to look like on both sides, depending on which camp wins?
Yes, if Harris wins, there will be riots.
Okay. What do they look like?
Ugly. They'll be ugly. They'll look
Will
ugly.
they be
Confederate flags, they'll be MAGA hats.
Nazis and fascists and uh, Machiavellians and narcissists and oafs and jerks and
can I hang out with the Nazis? Where are they?
they're probably living next door to you. At least some of them
There
are living
probably are. I'm up in the mountains with a bunch of ex-police officers, so I'm sure some of them are got to be Nazis.
probably Idaho or someplace like that. I don't know.
I don't know. Where do these Nazis live? Have they ever done like a Kamal Bell hangs out with the Nazis?
Argentina.
That's probably where the actual Nazis are. The Ukraine, I'm told that there's lots of Nazis over there.
That's what Putin says.
I don't know. I don't know where these Nazis live. I've never met someone that admitted to me that they were a Nazi. I definitely met a lot of Christian fundamentalists.
Oh, I know quite a few of those.
Yeah. They took my best friend. She was a religious studies major, and she dedicated 7 years to meditation and Hindu beliefs and went to India, and she turned into a born again Christian. So whenever I talk to her, I just gotta praise Jesus a lot, and we're good.
Well, he was an exemplar of systems thinking.
Yeah.
Early on, before there were very many of them at all.
Well, I've just been researching conscious agents on the internet and the new O1 preview model. I think we tested it a few weeks back, but it's learning to think and reason better and better day by day. So I'm hoping that these systems models continue to get better and better. Jansen Wong just gave a great talk in India. I don't know if you guys caught that.
Models will get better, but whether the people will be adopting and using the models, that's more dicey. There's a lot of models that are so difficult to wrap your head around that people just, shrug and go by their gut instinct instead.
Yeah. Well, what Jansen Wong was talking about. Hello, Kayla. Welcome.
Hi.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Heiner. Good to see you. All right, continue.
I'm just waking up, Kayla. It's the sun just came up. So I'm waking up, but I was gonna say the model that they're talking about, Jansen Wong, is a model to train in virtual digital twin space for the robot. So it's a factory robot model to train factories to work in real physics inside of a computer system. And I can't remember the name at the top of my head, but there's a name for the space. And then there's one for individual humanoid robots and one for factories. So they're going to be training the factories to run without humans.
Speaking of which, I just saw a reference to a long stretch of highway in China that was built entirely with drones and robots with no humans involved. I thought that
I
was,
saw that. Yeah, that's interesting, right?
What'd they pave it with?
let me see if
The
I can
Met.
get that article again.
Yeah, I think the dreadnought is coming. I don't know if you've heard that phrase, dreadnought. The factory that makes the machines that make the machines that make the factory that makes the machines.
Okay, I think I found the link. There's the video that talks about 158 kilometers of road that China built with drones and robots. Yeah, and that was posted a week ago.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait. It talks about resurfacing it. Maybe it's not completely building it.
The final part of the engineering.
Yeah, the first fully unmanned paving construction, 158-kilometer stretch, Beijing, Hong Kong, Macau Expressway.
That's still impressive.
Repaving usually means asphalt.
Yeah, it looks like asphalt from the video.
158 kilometers, that's a decent stretch.
You guys have seen the 3D printed houses, the latest iterations?
Not the latest, I've seen them. I mean, I've seen videos of them, not recently.
It's a cool bunch of cool technologies. One of them is like Lego blocks that you just assemble and then you fill in the concrete, once you got it all in place.
Modular.
Heiner should be all over that stuff, right? Heiner's probably been tracking it for years.
Heiner and I build with Play-Doh. Let it harden and live inside of it. I'm joking, Heiner. I was trying to make you laugh. I don't know if that reference. I don't know if you got the reference. Maybe Clay.
Well, I just found the link, but I'm too tired to start laughing.
Yeah, it sounds like you were up late. I just woke up because the birds were awake.
Where you are, when the sun comes up, it comes up fast.
It really does. You're absolutely right. It came up super fast, and
When the sun goes down, it goes down fast. It's like they turn out the lights.
yep.
Closer you are to the equator, the more vertical is the direction of the sun as it goes across the horizon.
Well, I had a great day watching the kid have her very first view of the ocean, and she looked at me and said, "Dad, it's real. I thought about this, and the ocean is a real thing, and you can actually go. It's like it's real. I'm looking at it. It's real." And just that look in her eyes of her seeing the ocean for the first time was a highlight in my memory. I'll never forget that.
Yeah.
And she was yelling at the waves and screaming at them and throwing sand and She was in an interesting little state of yeah, the waves became real. It was fun to watch.
Well, there's a lot of ocean around Hawaii. Surrounded
Yeah,
by on all sides.
she saw two little boys about 8 and 10 years old digging a deep, deep hole in the sand at the edge of the water. And she went over and annoyed them until they went away. She just kept talking to them until they went away. And she's like, now it's my hole. And then she took over the hole and dug a giant wide hole and made a fortress and a bunker and started fortifying it for the waves. So that was fun to watch her kick two little boys off of their hole.
So, question for all of you. Have you guys heard of Occam's broom? I know a lot of us have grown up with Occam's razor, but how
Never,
many of you heard of Occam's broom?
never heard of it.
You cut out for a second. What did you say?
I asked how many of us have heard of Occam's broom. Occam's razor,
Yeah,
as I understand it, is between two alternate explanations. Pick the simplest one, right? Occam's broom is the one that's often used to sweep relevant information or data under the rug and not look at it.
Well, I met a guy who did that, a guy that was enamored of cold fusion.
So the reason I mention it is because I just posted a link to this article regarding Daniel Dennett. And it talks about three principles he used for his critical thinking. One was Occam's razor.
Yeah.
Second was Occam's broom, which is actually not attributed to him, but it's one of the things people do that are sometimes mistaken. And then the third principle, without reading the article, what is the third principle? Can you guess?
Does it start with Occam?
No.
Misinformation would be my guess.
No. I think that would be Occam's broom, actually. That would fall in that category.
You're talking about critical thinking tools.
Yeah, this is specific to Daniel Dennett, so you don't need to necessarily, think badly of this if you don't get it. But according to this article, the third principle was engage with others.
Oh, yeah.
Groupthink?
And I forget who else was said that the truth emerges from arguments among friends. Who said that?
Elon Musk, when he did the Twitter comments.
Likely bullshit. Who said that?
No,
He's not the first one to say that.
He actually said that. No, I didn't say he was the first one to say. You didn't ask who was the first. You said who said that, and I said he used that in his comments section to find the truth. Is people that argue. That's the way it's on the X platform. The people that argue are the only ones that can keep the comment in there. You have to have argued first in order to find out if it's true or not.
Well, he's no arbiter of truth, and he is no proponent of truth either.
Not only did he say he's no arbiter of truth, he's been commented on many times from that system that he built to show that he's no arbiter of truth.
Right. And he's also censoring some of those who speak out against him.
Right, but he's also allowing people to use that system you just said.
No, some people who have criticized him have been expunged from his system.
And a lot of people who have criticized him have been put on that system because they argued. In other words, that system that he put, it does work. It's not perfect. It's not 100% accurate, but it works.
It was there way before he got there. And he has only fouled things up rather than improved things.
Can you show me?
No, I don't want to. It's
Okay.
evident.
Can we both argue on Twitter about it and have our comments put up?
It's part of the it's part of consciousness now.
Antisocial networks.
I guess the point that I'm making, Sam, is that it does work if you and I both have disagreed in the past and you post something, it's more than likely if we don't always agree, it has a better chance of being true, is my point. That's all my point is.
I don't see how that follows.
If we always agree, then we're always swaying each other's opinions. But if we don't always agree, then there's more of a chance that we're actually looking for something that's true.
It could be, but that's not necessarily the case.
Yeah. It's, I'm just saying you asked for something, Occam's razor, Occam's broom, and another way of thinking. And I'm saying if two people have agreed every time that this restaurant is great, and we say that the 15th restaurant is great, it probably isn't great to everybody.
Notice that
But
the
if we've disagreed on other restaurants, yeah, go ahead.
Notice that the original quote was arguments among friends. In other words, people who are genuinely open to each other and are generous enough to listen and consider alternate viewpoints, right? Just argument among strangers doesn't necessarily imply that kind of generosity.
Is that what the topic is?
Well, I brought up the Daniel Dennett article specifically to talk about these three principles around critical thinking. And Occam's razor, I think, is the most popular of them. Occam's broom, I just ran across in this article. And then this engage with friends, engage in conversation, is one that's come up through Bohm. It's come up through this quote that I just can't attribute correctly, and this article. So it seems like, you have to be able to butt heads a little bit, but in a generous, open-minded fashion, in order to really get at what's really rational or true or foundational. And you can sort of get stymied if one of those parties or more are dogmatic. In other words, not amenable to reasoning and rational discourse. Okay? But if both parties or all parties are, then that is a good way of going after truth. And that, in theory, is the way the scientific community operates. Modulo the emotional squabbles and paper publishing power struggles. Okay.
Good exemplar of that practice is the World Science Festival with Brian Greene as the host. He will get on academics who have differing perspectives of what theory or model is going to survive the scientific process, and we'll have them present their sides and critique each other's sides. He does a pretty good job of that.
Yeah. Speaking of that, I just watched a podcast recently with Leonard Susskind, and he was saying the same thing. He was looking for physicists that don't agree with him and that he can put down, and they still will continue working on the thing that they're working on, even if he doesn't agree with the thing that they're working on. So he was asking people not to agree with him. I found it interesting.
I think one of his ideas is a bit dicey, but I don't know if I can articulate. It has to do with the models of the surfaces of black holes and the kind of space that they reside in. And there's a couple of competing models, one of which I think has been losing ground.
You talk about the de Sitter space?
Yeah, anti-de Sitter space, which I think is a fiction. I don't think there's any such thing, but it's a mathematical model that
Yeah, I was trying to wrap my head around his de Sitter space and anti-de Sitter space, and I do think you're right. It is a mathematical
it's
computation
mathematical
that
construction for which there's no evidence that it exists. But on the other hand, we can't get up close to a black hole to do any measurements, so it's all kind of remote stuff. I think the argument is that there is no such thing as anti-de Sitter space, and that whether black holes are hairy or smooth is one of the metaphors that they argue over. So
Yeah.
the surface of a black hole is essentially modeled by a holographic mathematical model.
I was going to say, is there such thing as holographic math? Because I know there's fractal and chaos theory,
Yeah,
but is there?
the holographic math says how do you model the wavefront um, of a hologram so that it generates the correct waveform no matter what direction you're looking at it from. And there is a mathematics for holograms. That's all the information is encoded in a 2D manifold at the surface.
Are you talking about just the emergence of phenomena that come out of different perspectives based on phase? As you walk,
What a hologram does is it preserves phase information at every location.
right?
And that's why you can make a 3D image from a two-dimensional hologram, because it does preserve the phase information.
But you have to shine the laser at the same angle, right, to see it.
The problem is that it works because a laser is everything's in phase. If you use an ordinary light bulb, it doesn't work. You have to use a laser to illuminate it. So all the photons of the laser are in phase, and then that interacts with the information on the holographic surface to produce.
That's the way I understand the model of reality, is that each human being has to phase array reality to their model, which is their brain.
Yeah. I mean, the photons that land on your retina depend on the phase. Because
Mm-hmm.
if the phase is different, they'll land on a different spot on your retina.
Exactly. So we've got 8 billion lasers changing phase in real time, all trying to say, what is consciousness? It's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, actually, that's several of the last, I don't know, 2 or 3 of the episodes of World Science Festival was on consciousness and AI. And the question is whether AIs are conscious or can become conscious or have some degree of consciousness versus organic brains, human or otherwise.
Our brain is so flawed, though.
Mine's more flawed than yours, Kayla.
I know.
Yep. Thank you for knowing that. I just want to make sure you know.
I know people with very good brains that are very accurate, logical thinkers, and they're very rare and they're awesome. And I'm nowhere, and I'm not in their league. I can
Neither
barely
am I.
I can barely follow the reasoning in real time, but I couldn't replicate it.
I was watching this documentary on why, or the tragedy of the parents who leave their kids in the car, and the kids die.
Yeah.
So it followed a few parents. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. Like, I don't know why I'm watching so much tragedy. But anyways, what was really interesting is they had a psychologist or some type of, master's degree guy come and talk. And he said, if you ask me about these parents, of course, I would say they're neglectful and, they're just awful parents. He goes, but you have to consider the brain, which is very flawed. And he was talking about different parts of the brain working almost against each other in some way, shape, or form. So I guess what was it? God, I'm drawing a blank. That's the part of my brain that's flawed. Anyways, not the basal ganglia, and not the prefrontal cortex. What the hippocampus? Yeah. So the hippocampus is the part of the brain that stores facts. Like it's the one that reminds you of, your phone number, I suppose. It stores all of these facts. And the basal ganglia is the one that kind of sees into the future. So you have to go to work. And so when the hippocampus works with the basal ganglia, what it does is it has that repetitive action of, okay, well, every day I'm going to go to work. So they kind of work together in that sense. Or no, I'm sorry, I got it mixed up, prefrontal cortex. And it's the basal ganglia that sees that as a repetition. And so, in the case of these parents, they just forgot. There was like a day in there was something in their day that the brain recognized it as something like, okay, this is a regular working day. For instance, this guy is like, every Sunday I go to church. But instead he went to church. He goes to church and he takes his daughter and then he checks her in. But that day in particular, something happened that just threw him off course. And he forgot about that element of taking his daughter, checking her in. And instead, he left her in the car. So when it comes to AI, I think AI, I know at first I was very resistant to it because I was like, oh, geez, the AI is going to take our jobs away. But then I realized that with the use of AI, it doesn't have that flawed component that human beings have. And that perhaps working with AI can help us in some way, and maybe even open up different parts of our brains. I don't know. I'm just talking out of my ass at this point.
No, I think you're making perfect sense. I have to work with the AI when I'm driving the car and letting it drive and decide when do I take over, when do I let the car do what it does. And it's a very different reality to work with an AI, especially when your life is in danger. It makes it very real.
Yeah, I have to admit that AI has been helping me a lot because I don't have an assistant. And so I usually just go onto Chat GPT and I ask it to help me with certain things. And it is the best assistant of all time. I mean, I've gotten work done a lot faster with AI these days.
I think you also bring up a good point about random access memory versus stored memory.
Yeah.
And the wiping, when do you wipe your memory? Like as a human being, you know all these little facts that you can say quickly, but when it comes to deep thinking or systems thinking, sometimes you have to go to first principles and wipe everything you know clean in order to get to base truth to start from. So that process, I think we're going to get better at that by using AI. It'll help us to remember to wipe it clean and start from first principles and not just do what we've always done, just because that is how our brain feels safe and comfortable and conscious. It's very scary to say, okay, we've always done it this way, but today we're going to do it differently. That's a very scary paradigm for a lot of people.
I was talking to Barry yesterday. Remember, I was telling you about how I was reading this. Was it you I was telling actually? How I was reading another fictional story off of, you know, um, real history, a story about apartheid in South Africa or in Zimbabwe. And in it, they were saying, it's places like the television or church or the news that just has us focused on these petty things that we just don't realize that there are other things that are so much more important to us as human beings, as individuals, as a community. And I think in some way, shape, or form, AI is kind of helping to steer us in that direction. Only because I've actually used AI for my mental health. I mean, something as simple as crafting an email. How do I say this without sounding bitchy? Like sometimes I'll even just say, AI, or chat, how come, people are stupid or crazy, or why did they say that? Why did somebody rage at me because I asked a question? how come I can't get over X, Y, and Z? And it's amazing to see the answer.
Is it the logical construction of the answer? What's the amazing part of the answer?
The actual answer itself,
Because they paid.
just I don't have to go through, I don't have to search psychology today. I don't have to, it's just instantaneous. It just gives me an answer. Um, you know, just knowing if I'm kind of gonna struggle with something, again, something like, how do I say no to somebody politely? It'll it'll give me that answer instead of musing it with my sister and like it's we as humans go through so much BS sometimes that it's not necessary. Like I talk to my sister every single day, and oftentimes it's almost like a therapy session. We're offloading each other all of the angst and our struggles and woes, and then sometimes we just go and laugh about things that happened in the past or something. But oftentimes those phone calls are to come to some type of conclusion that AI can give us faster.
That's great. I used AI with my mom a couple weeks ago, and it worked great. Actually, I was pissing her off and making her angry, and I told AI to respond, and it said all these nice things that I would never say. Like, you're probably going through a lot right now, and I didn't mean to do this, and I am sorry for that, and I will respect where you're at. That's basically what it told me to say, and I said that, and she said, "Oh, thank you." But what I wanted to say was "fuck you, mom." But how dare you offload all your crap onto me? So yeah, that's
And that's the thing. It's like, why are people very fearful of that type of conversation? I mean, why is it so difficult to come to a conclusion that's, respectful, respectable, kind almost, but also honest? I'm reading what Sam had posted about um Occam's razor and Occam's broom. And it's pretty fascinating, but sometimes when it comes down to it, um, a little kindness and just how you word your conversations does so much, it does wonders. And I don't understand how hard it is for people to, including myself, to just come up with to structure our conversations in such a way that the blow isn't so hard and insulting or impersonal.
I think ever since I read that book, Adele Escher Bach, The Eternal Golden Braid, I came to realize that I am a language model and I am just going through the repetition of patterns, and I intermingle those with emotions and feelings, and that's where things get muddled. Whereas if I just keep it clear of the emotions and the feelings, then it doesn't get muddled. If I repattern the pattern without the emotions and feelings, it can stay logical. But then I'm not human anymore. So I have to go back to emotions and feelings.
But that's the beauty of humans, right?
It is, but it's also a dance, I think.
A
I
dance.
yeah, like two steps forward, two steps back kind of dance. Where if you're only in your feelings and you're constantly coming from emotional states, it's hard to convey information. It gets the
Oh
noise of
yeah.
the information. Like if I'm always saying, "Well, I don't feel that's right," and you're like, "Well, I don't know what experiences you had and why you feel that way, but I don't have those same feelings." So that's the dance is I took two steps forward with my feelings. If you take two steps back with me, then we're dancing. But if you stay there, I whack into you. I step on your toes as a dance.
Well, yesterday in a I was at getting my car the oil change, and I overheard this guy talk about the elections. Of course, it's the hottest topic. Um, and I really wanted to engage with this gentleman, but a part of me didn't trust my emotions at the time. And also, to be honest, I didn't trust his emotions just because of course he was in support and favor of Trump. And I actually messaged Sam and I said, "Oh God, here's another one. Somebody is like spouting off about Trump." But it just kind of, a part of me really wanted to engage with this gentleman, and a part of me is just like, no, save your energy for another day. That's the part of
Yeah.
the feelings that tend to get in the way.
You got to pick your battles.
Yeah.
Some battles are not worth it.
Is there a way to detect a good faith actor? I think Sam was alluding to that earlier about friends that disagree because they have developed good faith. Is that what you were saying, Sam? About
Long-term patterns.
I mean, you can do
Yeah.
it over a series of conversations, but you can also do it in the same conversation by just understanding whether or not what is being said is actually being heard and being ingested and being seriously considered, or being just rejected out of hand or just talked over. And over a series of conversations, that's much easier to discern. But you can still do it in a single conversation.
are there tips and tricks for doing that to detect if someone's talking in good faith?
Yeah, but there's a lot to discuss there. I mean, almost it's almost the entire corpus of collaborology.
I think it's the most important thing, though, to discuss because if we all use those tips and tricks and we can discern that together, then it'll be quicker and faster.
I've been trying that and I've been failing.
Yeah, I'm not any good at that. I mean, if I have enough data over long enough time, I can come to the conclusion that somebody's disingenuous, but it takes forever to get enough data to draw that conclusion reliably. And then the whole thing was a waste of time, except that I've now identified somebody as not worth it after.
I'm sorry, you guys totally lost. What are you guys talking about, by the way? I'm sorry.
I think Josh was asking the question in a single conversation. Can you tell whether somebody's seriously engaged or whether they're not
Totally.
engaged? I mean, that's just a paraphrase, I think, of the question.
Can you tell somebody's
Oh.
play controlling?
Or are they
Are they
or are they just, just
right? Are they genuinely agreeing with you, Kayla, or are they agreeing with you just to make you think they're agreeing with you?
I would hope that sometimes my friends think I'm listening to them when they talk about boys.
Well, that's one
Sorry.
thing about it. The one thing about an AI is that it does listen to your question and it does make a good faith effort to answer the question you asked, as opposed to ramble on about something totally unrelated. People will tend to give a response that's unrelated to the stimulus, the question.
Or if people will
When you
continue to, oh, God. Go ahead, Kayla.
No, I'm just when you said friend, it just reminded me. It made me think of my friends. I'm like, oh, I hope, I hope I can fake listening while my mind goes elsewhere when they talk about men. Sorry, off topic. I apologize.
You just got to say, well, I got to go now. Sorry, but I got to go now.
I pray they don't ask any questions.
well, tell me more about the circumstance in which you met this guy who was talking about Trump. Was he at a rally or was he just in a coffee shop or was he at a grocery store?
No, I was getting my oil changed.
Hmm. So was this a customer or a mechanic or what?
Customer.
Okay,
And there was mostly men in there. There was only one woman with him. let's see, I had a Forerunner. This is important, by the way. I had Forerunner. One of the guys there had like a Tacoma. So you would kind of assume that, people who have trucks, that they're a certain type of person, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's
And, yeah. And then he was white. A couple of other guys were white, and a couple of other guys were Mexican, and I was the only Asian female there. So
so. What was
considering,
talking to his partner about this just randomly, or was he like trying to convince somebody else, or what?
I think he was just talking to his girlfriend or whoever she was, this girl next to him, but he was talking very loudly, almost like when people talk very loud, it tells me two things. Number one, they don't care about who's around them. And number two, perhaps um, they want somebody to engage with them. That's what I think, at least here in California.
I did notice in New York, everybody talks loud.
My ears can never.
Yeah, it's a cacophony.
But could you tell whether or not his woman friend or partner was agreeing with him or not agreeing with him?
Oh, she kept changing the subject. I think she was very well aware of her loud boyfriend. I don't know if he would have asked me, "Hey, what do you think about the elections?" That's a soft and direct way to engage with somebody if it really matters to you.
If that were a paintball contest, he would be Technicolor by then.
Finish, Kayla?
I'm sorry.
You said if he had asked you directly, were you done with that?
I would have loved to express my opinions and have a conversation, or at least begin a conversation.
Hey, Kayla, what do you think about the elections?
I don't feel like having a conversation about it right now.
What do you think
I think
about the oil they put into your Forerunner?
I think it's great. I'm so glad they put conventional oil into my Forerunner because it's got leaks.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I've an old one that's technically Damien's. So it's a 2001 and it's not off-road. It's just a two-wheel drive. It just, it's a Forerunner. So that's like my second car, but it's his.
You would think that a Forerunner would have four-wheel drive. Why would they call it a Forerunner if it's only a two-wheel drive?
So people could look cool there.
They can pretend that it's four-wheel drive when it's only named that.
Even in 1986, you could actually switch it from 2 to 4. Like earlier in 1986, that was the first model.
I have a 2024 four-wheel drive. That thing's awesome.
Which one do you have?
This year,
Which?
this year's Forerunner.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm looking at this year's Tundra, the 4x4. I decided to get a gas car for four-wheel drive. I think should have gas because you're going to be stuck in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
I drove the Cybertruck and I just don't like that concept of being in the middle of nowhere on 10% battery. I just think that would be very stressful.
Yeah, we don't have, we haven't figured out how to put all of the energy stations out there.
Yeah, once they get giant solar panels in the middle of the national forest, I'll be getting a Cybertruck. Until then, I'm using gasoline.
A quick aside. Microphone A. Microphone B.
B is better by far.
Is better?
E.
Okay.
Could barely hear you with microphone A.
Okay. All right. I plugged my Logitech in, so I'm now using the Logitech video and microphone.
Yeah, it's better.
By the way, Sam, I did read the what you had sent us.
The Daniel Dennett
Critical thinking
article?
tools. Yeah,
Yeah, what'd you think?
I think it's great.
Yeah, I think the Occam's broom is expressed as kind of an inverse Occam's razor. And
That's
actually,
what my family uses.
you can see how other people
Oh,
are sweeping, relevant information and relevant considerations under the rug. And we certainly see that a lot today, especially in MAGA.
Oh, jeez.
And you can't really do that unless you do the number 3, which is to engage with others.
bingo.
Common things that happen is, when you think you're smart and you go into a room and you think on your own, then you write on your own, you're only in your own echo chamber. So you just amplify whatever you already thought, correct or otherwise.
Can I ask you a question, Sam? What do you think about the MAGA movement changing from Make America Great Again to the movement of let's not go into foreign wars again? I don't know if they haven't changed the acronym yet, but I see that movement, that's the big talking point. Does that seem like
I
just
haven't even heard
delusional
the
thinking?
second one. I just think that they're not a principled movement. They're not a movement about principles. They're a movement about personality and cult. It's
Hmm.
evident. So it doesn't matter what they say because they're going to switch their position no matter what. So it's just a
But
matter of, what's going to resonate to retain power. You can tell. I mean, their hypocrisy is just uh, flabbergasting, and they don't
but
care. So, principles don't matter when you're a hypocrite.
I posted
but I'm
it there in the chat, but the one I've seen is Take America Back.
Yeah, really? Well, what about the indigenous people? They would like to take this continent back.
Right?
Mm. Oh,
They're so full of controversy. They don't see how, Vance's wife is an immigrant. All of Trump's wives are immigrants, and they don't ever mention it, and they don't even respond when other people mention it.
that's not true though.
Marla
Wait,
Maples was an American, wasn't she?
did you just say they don't ever mention it? Have you listened to them mention it many times? Because I've heard Vance mention it many times, talk about how his wife is an immigrant.
Now I'm talking about how his followers either pay a due or don't pay a due.
I'm trying to understand. He does mention it, but they don't hear it. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying that the followers of Trump don't see the hypocrisy between trying to expel immigrants versus how many of their quote unquote leadership are actually married to immigrants. And they don't see how that would actually be difficult if these policies they so-called espouse would be put in place. They don't see the hypocrisy.
I'm saying one of the biggest supporters of Trump at this moment is Elon Musk, who is an immigrant.
Maybe
So,
possibly illegally is from other reports as well.
Is he from
right.
South Africa?
South Africa, yeah.
He's an African American, and he's going on the campaign trail saying, I not only believe in immigrants, and same with JD Vance is saying, not only do we believe in immigrants, we support immigrants. But you're saying that that's not the case? I'm just trying to understand.
I'm saying if that were the case, why would they actually have a policy that's going to intentionally deport somewhere around 10 million immigrants, purportedly, okay?
But they have to
According to
deport.
Trump.
Rupert Murdoch would have to be deported, wouldn't he?
He doesn't live here, does he?
I don't know. He's Australian, I think.
Yeah.
He owns a bunch
So
of.
I'm saying, do they want to deport all immigrants or just illegal immigrants or just illegal immigrants that don't want to go to
If you
path
talk
to
about
legal?
Springfield, Ohio, all those people are there legally, and they're talking about expelling them. So you tell me.
I don't know. I've heard that conversation on both sides, and I think everybody agrees that if someone is on a path to legal citizenship and wants to work with the system, that they're allowed to. If someone is on a path that doesn't want to work with the system, they should not be allowed to stay. That's what I've heard on both sides. Am I incorrect or?
No, I think the problem is with interpretation. If you actually go into a community like Springfield, Ohio, and say, we're going to deport you, even though they're there illegally, they're already on dubious legal ground. So whether or not they're there legally or not seems not to be a consideration there. All they're trying to do is get an emotional rise out of their supporters by saying, oh, these people eat dogs, these people eat cats. Okay. So I don't see a legal argument there. That's what I mean. These people are not principled. They only want to rile up emotional reaction as
No,
opposed to
that was
actually
that
any theory of justice.
right. That was Trump, but that's not all the people surrounding him saying that. That's just him at one talking point in one debate, and it stuck in your brain, and he
It's
got
not
you
just
riled up.
one. It's not just one, Josh. It's
I,
many.
I'm,
Yeah, it's not just one.
but it's
I would
not
have to
all.
agree.
It's not all, is what I'm saying. Even if it's half, it's not all of the base
You've got the
saying that.
leader of the movement saying that many, 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 many times without being countered by the rest of the movement or without the rest of the campaign. Okay, so that's like implicit or tacit support for it.
Right, but if you took five people, so you've got JD Vance, Trump, JFK, Tulsi Gabbard, and Elon Musk. And I'm saying out of those five people that are running that movement, only one is saying it. The other four are not saying that.
I don't know. Vance has been asked to support that, and he mealy mouths his way, out of any kind of a response. I haven't heard the other three specifically address that point, but they're not countering. If they're silent, they're not actually countering. So silence is
No,
implied support.
I'm saying I just watched a podcast with JD Vance, and he actually said what I just said, which is they want a legal path, people that are on that legal path. And he said, I am married to an immigrant and
Mhm.
I want that legal path. That's what he said. I'm just saying Trump is an idiot. He's cats and dogs. That's craziness. But I'm saying the group that's surrounding him is trying to rein him in and say, whoa, 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 you can't just go willy nilly and try to deport everybody. And I don't think that that's what the movement is saying. But there are people in his party that are saying stuff like that, which is really terrible. That weird looking vampire guy, I don't remember his name, but he's trying to say things like that. And in other words, infighting within the group of people that are just crazy saying things to scare people and fearmonger and rile up the base. And then there's saner heads that are saying we need to do this legally
Yeah,
and
but see,
properly to create.
the problem is not that there aren't saner heads. There are saner heads, but the problem is these saner heads are trying to apologize or be apologetics, okay, for this idiot in chief of their party. So it's
Right.
not
That
like, forming a basis of considered policy that's been well vetted by among, all the top guys. You got this idiot espousing BS, okay? And everybody's then saying, well, this is really what he meant, and oh, he didn't really mean that, and this is this one particular case, and it's just
oh,
a
it's
waste of
annoying.
time. And it's just, not a clear message. Okay. The clear
Yeah.
message is this guy's an idiot. He does not deserve to be in office. He's not qualified to be in office. Not only that, he's a felon. He's a rapist. He's a fraudster. Okay, he's a failure. Okay, and he's a man of bad character. He mocks the disabled. This is just not a person you would have representing your Boy Scout troop. Not to mention the entire country. Okay, so stop it with his bullshit about Trump. Okay, he does not deserve another moment in the national attention, and the fact that we give him that, okay, and even put him on a ballot is a sign of our stupidity as a country.
I think Kayla had her hand up. I'm just letting you know.
I'm not done with my rant. Okay.
I know. I'm aware. I'm just letting you know she has her hand up, but continue to rant.
Sam,
Go ahead,
just
Kayla.
pop off. Oh no, I totally agree with the both of you. I have friends who support Trump sadly. But what is confusing is why would you even have a leader like that in the first place? If as an individual or as a community, perhaps you don't believe in deporting everybody, why would you even put somebody in office who says those things? And therein lies the hypocrisy of the people who support Trump. Like, come on. It is not a clear message whatsoever. If my good friend is saying, I support Trump, and then she says, but I don't think that we should have, illegal immigrants here, but I don't believe that immigrants should leave. It's not a clear message at all.
Right.
You've got the person out at the top spouting some stuff, but their followers are saying something else. It's just not clear whatsoever.
Yeah. And by the way, the Obama and Biden administrations are not much better on the immigration front. Okay, all administrations have been caging children, as far as I know, and they're not reuniting children with their families. And these are families who came and sought asylum here in the United States. That used to be what the United States stood for. Okay, and if these kids have been in, cages for extended periods, even weeks is way too long. So I think Biden and Obama are not innocent in all of this, but more of the rhetoric is coming from the Trump campaign about what he's going to do. And the problem is not with, oh, let's handle illegal aliens this way. Obviously not, okay? But the problem is they're going to call illegal, they're going to label people illegal in a very slap-happy fashion, just like with Springfield, Ohio. And there's the rub. Everybody can theoretically say, oh yeah, illegal people ought to be, handled, according to our law. Yeah, but who they call illegal is a very, very slipshod process for them. And that's the danger. There are a lot of people here on political asylum. There are a lot of people here, with temporary approvals on their visas. And, it's too easy for MAGAs to just blanket accuse them of eating dogs and cats and therefore just say, oh, well, therefore it's okay to deport them with no evidence. End of rant. Yeah.
Go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Sam, and I'm hoping that within that party, if they were to get into office, that they do enough infighting amongst themselves to try to come to some sanity and not just some blanket dictatorship like Trump is alluding to, that just legally can't happen because you can't just illegally round up people and that happen.
Are you kidding? They're talking about
Well, that's
just because
the
someone's
scary
talking
part.
about something. Yeah, I'm saying we have laws in place to
if
keep.
we had laws in place, Trump would be in jail.
Okay, I can't argue against that. I get what you're saying, Sam. I'm not saying that the guy's not a maniac. I'm just saying
it's not his fault that he's not in jail. It's the system's fault that he's not in jail.
Correct. I agree. And I'm saying, is the system going to keep what is the system going to do moving forward is my question. No matter who's
He's already
in office.
corrupted it, right? The Supreme Court is already corrupt. Many of the other courts below it are also corrupt. Witness Eileen Cannon. Okay, so he's going to go in there. He's going to, basically take apart the Department of Education, Interior, many others that he's already talked about dismantling. NSF, NIST, all those things are at risk because he's already destroyed many databases that these organizations used to administer. So it's evident what he did previously. He's going to do more of that in his next, if he gets into office, administration. It's not hard to figure out. He's already said he's going to be a dictator. He's already said this election will be the last one you will ever need to have. Okay, he's already said that. Anybody who says that is already against the principles of the Constitution and by definition treasonous.
Right,
so
I agree with you. I'm not
treason immediately and disallowed on any ballot. And why we don't do that is a confounding situation to me. Over.
That's why I'm trying to help you understand why we don't do that. Meaning, can anyone just do that? No, because he set things in place to help him to do that because he's trying to be a dictator. But I'm saying, how do we stop him from being a dictator? That's my
Put him in
question. That's
jail.
where,
We put him in jail.
okay, okay. But I'm saying there's a lot of people that felt that same way about Hillary Clinton
She
because
was
of all the
not
things she
actually
did.
convicted.
Yes, but she was busted and did get caught, and Donna
Busted
Brazil
is
did.
not convicted. Okay, there's a legal status under which you can actually put somebody in jail. He's already achieved it. She did not. It's clear.
Okay, fair enough. I guess what I'm trying to communicate is I believe there's a lot of people that think the system is working fine. And then there's a lot of people that think the system is terrible. And how we change the system is the conversation I'm trying to have.
Right.
Does that make sense?
So how does it work fine if all these nominees for Supreme Court get in front of Congress and say, "Oh yeah, Roe v. Wade is established law. I will not do anything to counter that," and then immediately reverse their positions once they get into office? That's clear hypocrisy. That's clear low ethics. The Supreme Court doesn't even have a code of ethics. Of all the different organs in the United States government, of all the ones that doesn't have a code of ethics, that should be the one that has one because they're appointed for life. And look at what happens with Clarence Thomas and Jeannie Thomas when they just abuse the entire system with no accountability. That's what happens. You know, you don't get justice. You get loopholes where criminals can get away with bullshit simply because they're part of the criminal cabal. It's clear it's
Correct.
criminal.
So we know that system has been compromised in the highest court of the land, which is 1/3 of our government. But I'm saying also Citizens United was another corruption.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
so we have two things that have bucked our system.
That's
What are
right.
other things have bucked our system?
In fact, criminal Citizens United is extremely difficult to get rid of because you got power
Yeah.
working against you. You got money working against you, which that ruling allowed.
Yep. I was just listening to John Fetterman. Do you know this guy,
Yeah.
congressman?
Yeah.
And I'm listening to him saying that he ran his campaign with very little money against people that were paying up to $250 million for a campaign to get a job that only pays $174,000 a year.
That's what
So
Musk is doing
obviously
now.
that system is corrupt.
Musk is doing that right now.
He's playing into the corrupt system. Absolutely, he is
He's
doing
trying to
that.
get a position in the cabinet, after Trump gets into office.
Yeah, well, he only cares about his business. He's under shareholders. He made an agreement to all of his shareholders that he would run that business to be successful, and that's all he's doing is running his business. He's not looking out for Americans. He has business in Germany. He has business in China. He's a globalist, not a nationalist.
That's what Trump was doing when he was in office. He's trying to make sure his
Correct.
Trump Tower in Moscow could get built. That's why he cozied up to Putin and others. He's trying to make sure that Jared and Ivanka got their 600 million or 2 billion from Saudi Arabia. He was funneling $10 million to Egypt, or what? Egypt was funneling $10 million to him for a favorable ruling right after he got into office. I mean, it's clear that the corruption is rampant with this guy and all of his cronies. Just look at how many of those people got convicted, and are in jail. And he's in fact under 91 indictments already. Okay, so why the bleep is he still able to run for office? That's what's stupid about the United States.
I don't know, Sam. I don't have answers to that question. I'm sorry.
Sheila,
I just
explain it
know
to
that
me.
yeah, all I know moving forward, all I see in my view of reality is I see Nvidia being a $3.2 trillion company. I see Facebook rebranding and successfully fooling the entire world because they don't really care about America. A lot of their interests are overseas as well. And I see the same thing with Apple and Google.
Right. And there's a problem. People who take advantage of the system we have here in free enterprise profit from it, but they don't actually let other people in the country benefit from all of that success. They protect it, they don't pay their taxes, they hide it overseas, they invest it overseas, they feed it to the CEOs and boards of directors and investors, but regular workers, other people in the community don't benefit as much. That's not the
Mhm.
model of society that we tried to create in this country with the Constitution. So that's basically an abuse of the way the system works. And because of all of that power, they can now buy influence by buying elections. So they're just solidifying their hold on power. And that is a corruption of the Constitution. And that's why all of this behavior is counter to why the Constitution was created in the first place. We tried to get away from all of that crap that was in, the UK, where they tried to escape from. And yet we created an even more successful system for power and oligarchs and plutocrats here in this country now, because we haven't gotten decent people in office. The Constitution assumed that people leading the country and holding high office would be decent people. And that was unfortunately a faulty assumption that is now evident 250 years later.
Yep.
People are not decent. Not those that seek power. Those people are not decent.
Remember what Lester Maddox said about George's jails? He says, things are not going to improve in George's jails until we get a better class of prisoners.
Yeah. I'm very aware of all the problems we have. I'm not so aware of any solutions that could possibly lead to a better society.
Okay, there was one we talked about yesterday, okay? Mentioned facetiously, but it would actually work, okay? And I think most people would actually vote for it. Take the world's most richest billionaire or the US's most richest billionaire, okay? Sacrifice them in a volcano, spread their ashes among everybody, spread their assets among everybody else, okay? Next time around, every billionaire would be trying to make sure they're not the richest billionaire, okay?
You know
Now,
what's funny,
it's
Sam?
talked about facetiously, but it would actually work, okay?
Sam, not only did Elon Musk anticipate you saying that, he got rid of all of his assets so you couldn't do that.
Yeah, shell games are part of the game.
I'm just saying he saw that coming about 6 years ago and got rid of all of his assets.
Every billionaire does. That's why CRTs exist. That's why trusts
Yeah.
exist. That's why 501c3s exist. But you can still gather who holds those positions in the boards of directors, and you can actually see who controls all of that asset. It's not hard to figure out. Legal forensics is well understood.
Well, do you think we're going to move the economy of the United States from a 27 trillion GDP to 100 trillion GDP? Because that's what everyone's talking about globally.
I mean, there's no reason to question we can't do it because all of that is just game playing by those who keep score. Okay. So if you actually have the ways to manipulate stock prices and to, play games with shares and issue shares right and left, and I talk about that. Yeah, in a game, you can make $100 billion, $100 trillion. I mean, but still, that doesn't benefit other regular citizens, not the bottom 99.99%. People like that don't benefit. Talk about the 750 minimum wage. How long has that been in effect, right? While CEO compensation goes up and up and up and up and up.
We could have
Yeah, we can play the game. It doesn't matter. It doesn't affect regular people.
Is the minimum wage still 750 in some states?
Yeah,
Which states are those? I'm
I
curious
think that's a
because I'm in
federal one. I
California.
don't think that's a state one. That's a federal one. Because, like Washington, for example, different municipalities within Washington, like Seattle, even a couple of years ago, they raised it to $15. But let me just double check. But because I think the federal is still at 750.
That's insane. If the federal is 750, that's insane.
Okay, I'm looking up federal minimum wage. $7.25 per hour as of July 2024. Federal minimum wage in the United States, $7.25 per hour.
Insane.
It varies by state, but it is starting at $7.25 per hour.
Ask it what state has the lowest minimum wage with federal plus state law combined.
Yeah, I'm asking what states have minimum wage of $7.25 an hour? Utah, Wisconsin, Wyoming, Texas. Let's see, we're saying below $7.25. Alabama, Georgia, Louisiana, Mississippi, South Carolina, Tennessee. Jeez.
That tells you all about America right there.
And then look at their education systems, look at their rates of poverty, look at their rates of people on welfare, look at their infrastructures, look at their health statistics, medical care. Jeez, we are fucked.
Well, we can move to Costa Rica or New Zealand, I suppose.
Well, you can watch the news today. QCell is about to be in the news because they're doing a big thing over here in Hawaii. So keep your eyes on the news in Hawaii.
Maybe I had a little bit too much caffeine. If so, I apologize.
It's okay, Sam. I love that you're passionate about making America great again.
America used to be respected by the entire rest of the world. And in my lifetime, we are now the mocking, laughing stock of the entire world. And that just happened in 4 or 5 decades. Arguably, the last 2 or 3.
I talk to a lot of people all over the world. Not only are we the laughing stock, we're the most interesting laughing stock because we're the most powerful and we're the world's police. So everyone's watching this police force saying, is this police force going to be sane or are they going to be insane?
Yeah, we're about to put an idiot in charge of the red button.
Yeah.
What a fucking disaster.
Yeah.
And not only that, he's going to send the military after Democrats.
I don't know,
I want to know
what's going to happen. Yeah.
Is whether the military leadership is actually going to actually do it when he issues that command.
Do you really? I don't believe what you believe, which is he's going to do all these insane things. I think he might try, but I don't think it's going to work.
About rifles.
Yes, I've heard him. I've heard him say the most insane things. He's a crazy person and he's a corrupt, horrible person. We all agree on that. I don't think there's no one that agrees.
Why the fuck give somebody like that any power at all? In fact, why give him any attention at all?
Because we like drama. We love drama.
That's a great answer, Barry. I think, and the rest of the world likes drama too.
$15 and go to a theater and get at for 2 hours at a time, and then be rid of it.
The drama in the movies isn't good enough. We like real drama.
It's true. A lot of people are not thinking sanely. They're thinking
that's the level of idiocy in this country. We'll take, Kardashians, and people will give them hundreds of billions of dollars for the stupid inane show and Real Housewives of XYZ. Okay, and the stupid Apprentice, but yet people don't really care about the eroding rights that are done by treasonous people, basically operating against the Constitution. That's how stupid we are as a country.
We're drama queens. We're a whole nation of drama queens.
Yep.
No, we're consumers of drama queens, not just drama queens. Most of us are not interesting. We're just consumers of that idiocy.
Well, you put that very dramatically, but I'm not paying attention.
Idiocracy is very real. It used to be something that was in a movie in 2004.
Today is worse than the movie. The movie did not anticipate us being this bad.
It's pretty bad. But it's also, I think another thing, are you familiar with Casey means and Cali means? I think that might give you a little bit of hope of some decent people that also are graduates of Stanford University and are doing some very interesting things for healthcare. And they're one of the saner people that I saw. One was a surgeon, the other one is studied medicine. And the idea that the doctor can prescribe good food and good health and our insurance should actually pay for that. I thought that was a really, and they went in front of Congress. I'm saying there are movements to get some sanity back into this.
Yeah. I encourage that. I support that.
Me too. I think the reason why the healthcare industry from the inside out, because it became a business, and the pharmaceutical benefit managers, the giant insurance companies, and the huge hospital administrators, it's gotten to a point where it's 1/6 of our economy, if not more. I think the saner heads that will prevail will realize so many people are on SSRIs that they can't even think straight. Even if they wanted to be rational and be normal people, they're fucked up on drugs. And I think that's the biggest thing. Whoever, I don't care what administration, but we've got to get our people off of these SSRIs, because I think that's the biggest problem in America. On top of Ozempic for every American being passed through Congress, to me, those two things are more important than anything else. Is we'll never have a functional economy if everybody is unhealthy. I think that, and it's a huge business. This unhealthy business is trillions of dollars. We're talking $7 to $9 trillion being made off of unhealthy people, because you can't get the brain healthy if the body's not healthy. And that's where I'm putting my energy.
Yep. And if you get people dumb, they'll believe whatever you bleep and tell them. And that's what we've got today. They don't even know to question, the idiocy that they're being fed.
They don't have the whereabouts to even start to question it. They're told to take this. I just talked to a person yesterday who has Ehlers-Danlos disease. Are you familiar with that? It's a joint dysfunction. She's on 7 to 9 medications at once for a joint dysfunctional disease, debilitating disease, but she's not getting healthier. They're keeping her sick. And it really is, I think Bernie mentioned this very clearly in his campaign in 2014. It's sick care, not health care.
Yep.
And it really
Bernie's
is.
not the only one, but he was the one that first exposed it and made a conscious message about it.
Well, I think we all agreed because he was funded by the people. He wasn't funded by the super PACs.
Right. Okay, as a small aside, let me take about 15, 20 seconds to read the definition of Trumpery, which I posted on the 30th of October. And the meme says when the actual dictionary completely nails it. And this is the word trumpery, okay? Number 1, deceit, semicolon, fraud. Number 2, anything calculated to deceive by false show. Anything externally splendid, but intrinsically of little value, worthless finery. Number 3, things worn out and of no value, useless matter, trifles, rubbish, nonsense. That's a definition of trumpery. Showy, but worthless, paltry.
Well, can I give you some hope, Sam? And I'm not saying this scenario is real. I'm just saying it's a hopeful scenario. Is a bunch of people surround themselves and say, yes, they're yes men for Trump and yes women for Trump. And then when Trump gets into office, they do a coup and get him out of there. That's my dream.
Well,
That's
look,
my hope.
what's happening is he's not going to be in office more than 3 to 6 months. JD Vance will take over. We already know more or less this. He's going to be either 25th Amendment-ized, or he's just going to get removed to someplace, or one of these assassinations might actually succeed, okay? But JD Vance is arguably just as bad. How many of you guys actually read his book or saw the movie? Any of you? It was really a really strong attempt to get his life story presented in a very sympathetic way.
But really, I get how bad he is. Yeah, I get how bad he is. I also see him trying to be bad around a lot of good people. And I see a lot of good people schooling him saying, dude, I know you're trained by Mr. Palantir, Mr. PayPal guy, Peter Thiel, but you need to fucking wake up because what you think is reality is not America. And I'm watching him in real time. He was just a freshman congressman who got thrown into this position because he's such a doofus, because he's a pushover for Trump. But if he does get into power, he's going to have to grow up quick.
No evidence he's going to. And what's sad is supposedly he's Yale educated. What does Yale churn out if that's what comes out of Yale? Now, I will have to admit, Hawley from Missouri did come out of Stanford. But at least you can argue there's a lot of, other Stanfordites, and, Hawley arguably is an exception. But geez, come on, Yeah. There's other people from Yale as well, so maybe that's not a strong argument.
Well, I think that the people in their mid to late 40s are going to have to step up and run this country.
Well, from what I hear, and I'll take this as possibly encouraging, is that the early mail-in vote is strongly slanted 55% women, 45% men.
Yeah, I saw that too.
That might be a reason to be slightly optimistic.
I have no understanding. To me, it could go either way. I have no clue. I have no projection, nothing that tells me any kind of rational truth. We won't know until we know.
So
and the not knowing is yeah, I'm just saying the not knowing is really tough.
And I'm also very leery of these polls. Polls go right and left, and it's really hard to tell who's doing a good job and who's not, and whether or not the media is just playing up certain polls and diminishing certain others just to create, whatever they want to create.
Drama. What if it's drama? So you sell magazines, newspapers, drama.
And it's such bullshit. And no matter what, that the MAGAs are going to riot.
Yeah.
No matter what, that Wall Street's going to make a lot of money.
Yeah, don't we love capitalism?
The poor get poorer.
I heard a lot of people in Wall Street say we're in this mini recession, tightening up. All the corporations are just pivoting and changing their structures, and they're basically getting ready to fire everybody. Like, to me, it's the Andrew Yang prophecy is coming true in real time. Like, I'm watching it happen so fast. I went to the optometrist, and the assistant was from Dubai, and he said in Dubai they don't even have optometrists; they just have a machine. You just look into it, and it does it all. You don't even need an actual person. And to me, we're just steps away from everyone being at home angry, watching angry Netflix, whatever the new shows are, and society is gone. Like, we literally, when we go out and about, we just can't even interact with each other. So the art of conversation, I think, is the most important art. That's why I believe in this Bohemian dialogue thing. Because without it, how are we ever going to move forward? And I think we might go into a little winter of no conversation for like we did with COVID a little bit. It was a really weird time. I think we need to stop and analyze what happened during COVID, because that really divided us all up. That COVID thing was, and not just in our country, the world. The world got divided up. Who's for humanity, who's not, and who wants to spread a disease and who wants to stay at home, and it got really confusing.
I don't know. I might have limited sources, but I don't see other countries have gotten as stupid as we have here in this country.
Oh, they are. I talked to my friends in India. They're just as retarded as we are. They have the same arguments, blah, blah, blah. China's good, China's bad. It's the same thing all over the world. It's a mass delusion of reality. And one of my friends just brought to my attention that there are automated nuclear submarines from Russia in the Pacific Ocean that don't need to nuke us. They just need to explode a nuke in the ocean that causes a tidal wave that will go all the way to the West Coast. And that's a reality no one wants to look at. That is something that is scary as hell because technically they're not nuking America, they're nuking the Pacific Ocean. And they have the means to cause a tidal wave. And that's the reality. That's what World War III looks like, is proving that they caused that tidal wave. And everyone's saying they'll do a propaganda campaign that America did it on its own people. And looking at the intelligence of other countries like Russia and pretending like they're stupid, they're not stupid. They're a giant military factory, and they have been for over 200 years.
A lot of failed states on the planet.
Do they still
Yeah.
have effective military? I thought Ukraine was actually doing reasonably well against them.
Well, they got North Korea, what, 10,000 soldiers from North Korea?
They
Yeah.
just had a BRICS meeting.
Did China actually tell North Korea to pull out or not? I heard that reference.
I don't know.
Pull out of what?
China, according to what I read, asked North Korea to stop supporting the Russians by sending troops.
I didn't hear that.
Because, of course, prior to that, there was a report that North Korea sent 10,000 troops to Russia.
I don't know, but we're gearing up for World War III, and that's reality. And a lot of people are just fucking asleep at the wheel.
Well, look at the powder keg that is the Middle East.
Yep. And that's why I don't care who's in power, whoever it is, they better not have war on their minds. Speaking on, I'm just going to switch this real quick to try to help you out, Sam. Here's a little guy coming to visit.
Was that, a bird of some sort?
It's like a little heron, a little white heron.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool flora and fauna in Hawaii. Have you
Yeah,
ever crossed any
find that
peacocks yet? There's a bunch of places with
I haven't seen any peacocks. That's the first heron that's come close to me. I saw one in the distance, but I take that as a good omen because herons represent good stuff. And yeah, I'm just praying for peace. That's all I can do. That's just where I'm at because
That doesn't help.
economically, yeah, go ahead, Barry.
Doesn't help Sam. He doesn't believe in prayer or religion.
I was about to ask, does praying for peace work?
It does for me. I could be a complete delusional crazy person, but that's the best I can do for my own sanity is if I'm at peace within myself, then the people that are around me during that day feel that energy and it maybe spreads a tiny layer to like 5 to 15 people, but that's the best I can do in my little world.
Who do you pray to?
I pray to the souls of each people I meet. And when I say namaste, I mean it. I acknowledge the divinity that is in you. And I acknowledge that you are a human also trying to live on this planet. Just to switch up the subject for a second, let me know if I'm annoying you guys. I really want to do some sort of project with insects and bring insects into my daughter is watching all these different bug things and was really obsessed with bugs last year. Now she's getting more into monsters and different things and abstract thinking. but I do believe that it's the insects and the animals that will inherit whatever happens after World War III. So looking at the world from their perspective, I think is helpful in terms of systems thinking, in terms of understanding ecosystems, nature, and that's kind of where my focus is right now is the insects and the flora and fauna that they so intimately involve their lives with. And the worms that create the good earth that poop out some nutrition for the plants to grow. And I think that perspective could be very helpful because I think we get so caught up in anamorphizing, that's not even a word, but in making everything human when the world in reality is not a human place. It's a completely separate system. Just looking at the ocean yesterday, I saw a cloud system on one island. I saw another cloud system on one side of the island, a cloud system where I was. There was multiple ecosystems in one view. And I think a lot of people don't even see the night sky. They don't even see all the stars out there. They're just micro focused, not macro focused. And that's where I think people go crazy and leave their kids in the car or leave things on top of the car and drive away is they're not looking up. They're looking down at their screens or whatever they're looking at. I don't know where attention has been focused, but it's definitely been in the wrong place. Mm-hmm. And when you have all those people with their focus in the wrong place, it's easy for a maniac to come and say, hey, focus on me and be the squeakiest, loudest wheel. And I think that's the danger is if we were in a more healthy society, we couldn't even have this kind of rhetoric. We couldn't have this kind of insane propaganda, insane attention grabbing. It's the distractions that are keeping us distracted. That's just my view. And that's why I choose not to live in the city, because when I lived in the city, everyone was focused on their career and what they can do quid pro quo to advance their career and fuck everybody else and stomp on them as they climb that corporate ladder. And they're just going up a ladder. They don't even know where they're going to. They don't know what floor they're getting off at. They're just climbing a ladder to nowhere.
One of the things I used to say is before you spend all that energy climbing that ladder, make sure you know what window it's actually leaning towards.
Yeah. And I told my assistant who tried to sabotage me and take my job, I'm not climbing up the corporate ladder, I'm climbing down. So if you want up, just tell me, I'll move aside and you can climb up the rung, but don't kick me off the ladder. Just tell me to move aside, you can go up and I'll go below you, but don't kick me off the ladder. I don't want to fall to my death.
In the meantime, for the record, I think I've heard like within the first day or two of the Washington Post refusing to endorse Kamala Harris, they lost somewhere around 200,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
I think it's probably more by now.
You think they'll go out of business?
No, they're not going to go out of business. Bezos is behind it. They're not going to go out of business. He
But
wants
they're not
that
going to have.
platform. He doesn't really need subscribers, but they did lose a bunch.
I did see that I think 450 7-Elevens are closing down. A lot of changes in the way people stop and get their coffee. Same thing with Starbucks.
I didn't think they would actually compete because 7-Eleven coffee is way cheaper than Starbucks coffee.
I don't think the competition is the coffee. I think it's more of the little snacks and doodads people are not paying for.
The snacks in Starbucks are way more expensive than the snacks at 7-Eleven.
Yeah, it's a different brand. One's a mommy brand, the other one's a gas station brand, a convenience brand. But I'm saying the entire infrastructure of our economy is shifting rapidly. I've never seen it. I mean, being in Hawaii is just eye-opening for me that the prices are island prices because everything's imported. I don't understand how people can live on this island because we went to the supermarket. What usually costs $80 for us was $210. And then we got a little discount. They're like, oh, we'll give you the local food land discount of $50 off of your 210. I'm like, okay, so you just gave me $160 for $80 that I buy at home. Thank you.
Yay, Foodland.
Yeah. It's exact same products in the same pack. Like, look, I buy this at home, the same exact coconut water, just marked up double for shipping costs. Like, why can't you get coconuts from the fucking island? Like, what is going on here?
They have to ship the coconuts to the mainland to be processed into that package, then shipped back in the package.
Exactly. To me, that's the insanity of our economy is not setting up things where it's sustainable. It's setting up things so it's profitable. Like I'm sure they could grow everything that everybody needs on. I went from the one side of Maui to the other, and I just saw barren wasteland that looked like it could be fertile, but they couldn't get the water pumped in enough. It was just too dry. And I'm looking around this island. There's just massive clouds, and they could figure out this water system. I mean, come on, this place looks like a wasteland. It's insane. Like I'm looking right now, there's all these dry leaves and dry stuff, and it's like they're just not managing the water system right here. It should be tropical.
You just muted yourself, Sam. Which is maybe a good thing. You're still muted.
Oh, sorry, my mic was off. I was saying I couldn't hear you, Barry. You were speaking kind of softly.
It's in the speech to text. You can read everything I say in the speech to text.
I don't have that turned on today. Like I said, I'm on a new machine, so I didn't have that turned on for me. Oh, I've ranted enough for an hour. Arguably,
Yes.
what I want to do is learn more about how to use these bots and AIs to really go through some of the history. I keep saying that, and it takes small steps, but I haven't actually completed one of these videos yet. All right,
Well,
shut up for today.
if it helps you, Sam, the latest speech from NVIDIA, I think is very helpful to where they're looking to go with their GPUs on the Blackwell. And these agent things are gonna come online, I would say around April, where they're either free or slightly paid, but they're actual real thinking agents. In other words, we could work our asses off to try to get it all to work now, or we could wait till it works.
I know. That's why I've been waiting.
Yeah, I'm waiting too. That's what I'm saying is like, I have a plan to buy the Apple Mac Pro 4, whatever it is, M4 in April. Because then they'll announce the new stuff coming out and then the prices will go down.
What's the price going to be? Have you made a determination?
Yeah, the price is $1,200 for a Mac M4 laptop. It's $1,200.
Yeah, I think they increased the memory from 8 gigs to 16 gigs, right? I think that's
yep. And I get SSD and hard drive, so I can port over another hard drive. So I don't need to buy this giant, huge hard drive. I think everything I can do can be in the cloud, and I'm using the models in the cloud, and I think we're good. I think come April we'll be able to have agents that can do some good work. I just feel like humans are going to stop talking to each other, and our bots will be talking to their bots, and the people that program the bots well will work, and the ones that don't will fail. They'll run a call, they'll start thinking, and they'll go, predicted nothing. And the good bots will be the ones that say, oh, I actually have already executed 17 executions in the time you predicted nothing. And it's going to be a war of attrition of automation. Whose automation works and whose automation fails. That's the way I see it.
Anyway, I'm surprised Heiner's still here. Wonder if he's still listening. But I'm going to shut up for today.
Definitely, I'm here. I have to see what's going on in the land of convenience.
What was that, Heiner? In the land of convenience?
Yes, for me, the US is the land of convenience, or the modern society is the land of convenience. And I think it's very bad if it's just convenient and nobody cares for the external and extra effects and the situation.
Yep.
The mindset is convenience. No, I listen to you very carefully, and I'm also very concerned. And I just wanted to find out what the heck is going on over there. I will not come back next time. I was there 50 years ago. This is enough.
Well, America's learning to be Chinese, so I'll let you know when we speak Mandarin.
Greetings to Hawaii.
Thank you. Aloha. Mahalo.
China has its own stability and sustainability and survival problems.
Yes. So let's call it a day and make it well in America. We all suffer from you bad decisions, and the issues here are tough as well. We also have much more borders than you and really internal deep problems. But maybe we talk about this next time, because it is really tough on who is funding which country, and it's too many more players. So it is very, very confusing and tricky. But finish your mess the next 3 days or the next 3 weeks or months, and then we talk again.
Okay. Well, let me
Well, the
know
bad
if
thing
you
happens
ever want
in
to.
the election, Heiner. I want to try and move into your apartment probably.
Yes,
Yeah.
come over.
I was going to say, if you guys want to meet up in the Philippines, let me know how far you are from the Philippines.
I'll be probably as close as Taiwan.
Taiwan's not far at all.
Yep.
How about Thailand?
That sounds good to
Another option.
me.
Yeah.
Close to the Philippines.
Vietnam also.
I'm going to sign off, and good to see you guys.
Okay.
Cheers.
Thanks again.
Cheerio.
See you guys later.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.